Well, we mentioned this event today that's going to feature Sarah Palin and Michelle Bachmann. You might not guess this, but Democrats actually are pretty excited about this event. This is a video put together by the DNC. Take a look.
Someone's 13-year-old daughter could walk into a sex clinic.
Something's not quite right when Fidel Castro comes out and says he likes Obamacare.
Pedophile? Someone who considers themselves gay?
Oh, I agree with Rush Limbaugh.
I find it interesting that it was back in the 1970s that the swine flu broke out then under another Democrat president, Jimmy Carter.
It's not a time to retreat. It's a time to reload.
Indeed. You see them both.
Greatest
to dial it up. It's
They're
all there.
your two favorite dream guests, right?
Right.
I mean, you would totally like to cover this.
If they would sit here together, we would have a blast.
Dream
we
show.
might have to make the show a half hour.
Wow, a full half hour.
Full half hour. Ana Marie Cox joins us from GQ magazine. Thanks for being here. I want to start just with a little bit of commentary on this duo that we're going to see this afternoon. It strikes me that obviously they're big draws on the Republican side. Democrats feel pretty good about raising money off of this. Some of the Democrats that have been targeted by Sarah Palin, they're eager to go out there and
they are.
trumpet it.
I mean, I think that the White House could do worse. I mean, they would rather run against Sarah Palin and Michelle Bachmann than Tim Pawlenty and Mitt Romney. That's for sure. I mean, if you can make Michelle Bachmann and Sarah Pawlenty the face of the party, Michelle Bachmann and Sarah Palin the face of the party. I mean, yes, the Democrats win because if you look at the numbers nationwide, I mean, Michelle Bachmann is weirdly obviously she's popular in her district and it's this weird outlier district that happens to be very conservative, but she's actually not that well known outside the far right. She doesn't poll very well. Sarah Palin polls terribly. So, I think that, but of course, what the reason they're doing this is to raise money and raise awareness inside Minnesota. It's going to work for the people that are going to vote in the primary there. And
as you said, outside the far right, but in that far right, in that activist base, I mean, Michelle Bachmann is one of the most popular people requested for fundraisers around the country.
I know, and it works. They bring it in. Now, if they put her in a lesbian bondage club with Sarah Palin,
RNC fundraiser.
RNC fundraiser right there.
What could you say? Yeah. I want to talk a little about a power list that you put together.
Right.
You feature at GQQ.com, and we now know the most powerful person at the White House, and her name is Romelry Gibselrod.
Romelry Gibselrod.
All right. Tell us how you got there.
Right. Well, the thing is, the same four people were named as the top four by everyone I talked to. There's some combination of Valerie Jarrett, Rahm Emanuel, Robert Gibbs, and David Axelrod. There's a couple of remarkable things about that list, one of which is Valerie Jarrett being on it, that she's considered so powerful and still not widely known outside the White House. I mean, we know who she is. But and another thing for Robert Gibbs to be considered a really senior advisor is a break from most White Houses, is particularly the White Houses of the recent past, where the communications person, the spokes guy, was intentionally kept out of the loop. Obviously, Scott McClellan being the best example.
But also sometimes the spokesman himself wanted to be out of the loop. Mike McCurry is an example of this, right? Because you want to advocate on behalf of the press as well. I think Robert Gibbs' very close relationship with the president, and clearly one of his most senior trusted advisors, complicates his relationship a bit further with the press than other press secretaries.
It doesn't. If by complicate you mean ruins.
Well,
I mean, he has a terrible relationship with the press. I mean, individual people in the press corps, I like Gibbs. He likes Jake Tapper, has a great relationship with him. But, I think in that briefing room, it's very antagonistic. It's more antagonistic than it was. I mean, I wrote a profile of Tony Snow, the great, wonderful, sainted Tony Snow, when he was stepping in at the White House. And that briefing room was actually, although contentious in terms of policy, very genial. Very much
from the ranks of journalism, though, so that helps that a lot.
Right,
yeah.
and the tone right now, I think you guys would agree, is just it's not genial.
Not the same. Some of the other names that people you might know, Geithner and Summers, Dennis McDonough, which I think is
Dennis McDonough is another name not widely known outside the White House, but he is number 5. I mean, as a strong number 5, named by multiple people as the person that not just who the president trusts on foreign policy. He's director of the National Security Council, but also who they trust. Several people told me, when there's a concern, you can talk to Dennis, and he will explain it, and you understand it, and he's super smart and reasonable. And
across every level of the staff there. The Geithner-Summers tie, though, was very interesting to me, Anna, because we hear all these stories about Summers on his way out, that Geithner's actually winning this battle. So I was very surprised to see them as a tie.
It is a little bit, well, I think that's largely because Summers would assume that he's higher. Because he's a former sort of mentor.
But you said that they like each other, too.
They have like a good, I said they have a good comic rhythm.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's the exact same thing as liking each other. They sort of have a playful sort of mocking back and forth, where Geithner is like the smart aleck, and Summers is the sort of absent-minded professor type. But I do know from talking to people at the White House, Summers may not consider himself very powerful, not powerful enough, but he is very trusted. Yeah. He's someone the president goes to for explanations on things, and who also trusts to play devil's advocate, which I think is a really important role in this White House. Very few people do that.
Yeah, it's hard to say no to the president directly. Ana Marie Cox.
No such thing as powerful enough, I guess.
That's right. Ana Marie Cox, GQ.com is where you can get the list.
Yep.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for being here. That does it for this edition of Top Line. Be sure to click us on again tomorrow.
Twitter.com/the-note. Let us know who you think Ana left off. She wants to know who you left off. Who was left off, though? What's the next round?